Nick, have you
Okay.
ever been to a horror con, Nick?
Was at one for the first time last October. Met
Ah,
Nick Castle. Met Nick Castle
awesome.
because he was there because I
Yeah.
saw he was there and it was 20 minutes from my house and I was like, well, I can't not go. What if he dies, so I was like, I gotta get a picture with Nick Castle. So yeah, it was pretty cool. There were a lot of other, people there. I just needed to get Nick Castle and get that. But I haven't, that's the only one I've ever been to. So hoping to go to some more in the near future here.
What was that called? What was the name of that one?
Spookala. It's in Tampa, Florida.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
okay.
Oh, so you live in
Yeah.
Florida?
I
Okay.
live in Florida. I'm from Milwaukee. From Milwaukee, moved
Okay.
to Florida 3 years ago.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Spookala is a big one.
Is that near
But yeah.
Tampa or Orlando? Which
Tampa.
Tampa? Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's another one in Orlando. I can't remember what it's called.
We just started going to horror conventions in the last year, and man, we're hooked. We love it.
Yeah. A lot of fun.
We're trying to look at one to go this year. But yeah, man, they're really fun. It can be pricey, no doubt about that, but it's really cool to meet these people. Like he said, James U. Courtney was really cool. Met Nev Campbell, she was a sweetheart. Skeet Ulrich, solid dude. Matthew Lillard, really cool. I mean, just everybody we met was really cool at these conventions.
Everything you just said, all I heard was like that must be like $600 because the prices I was looking at, I was like, you guys want $100 just to me? I'm like, Jesus, man. I mean, I paid it for Castle, so I'm a hypocrite for saying that, but come on.
Oh, to me, that's not that bad. I paid all day. But yeah, it was a lot of money. I mean, I budgeted for it, Nick. I mean, I took, I knew how much I had, and I couldn't go over that. But yeah, I mean, I got a lot of autographs, and I like to get the pictures. I didn't get any pro pictures. I just did the selfie at the table. Man, you know who was really cool is Alex Vincent from the Chucky series. He was really cool.
Yeah.
He was.
He's from down at Tampa. I think he lives around Tampa.
Yep.
Really?
Yeah, he said that. Yeah, he said that. Yep.
He told us that we were in the buffet line, and I know the guy thought I was some kind of creeper or something. I was like, "Hey, man, where do you live at?" He's like, "Tampa," and I was like, "I'm not coming to your house. Don't worry." Dude.
Yeah.
Hey,
maybe I will.
So let's move on. Okay, let's talk the Mount Rushmore of horror. Like horror. I don't know if you want to do franchises or figures. I guess we could just do I guess the slashers or whatever, or the characters. What's a Mount Rushmore of characters for you?
So it's hard to do this without just choosing all villains, right? Because the villains are kind of become the brand, we're talking about Myers and Halloween Ends, and it's like, well, Myers is the brand, how can they do that to the brand? So for me, it would be, Myers number one, or Myers is on there, like no doubt. I'm a big Friday the 13th guy as well, so Jason has to make the list. It's cliche, but Freddy was just a rock star in the 80s. Like such a rock star. Freddy's got to make the list. Like Freddy and Jason dominated the 80s way more than Myers did. People forget that because Halloween's had such a resurgence and these other two franchises haven't.
Right.
But I mean, Freddy was, everywhere. He was on MTV. He was, it sounds crazy to say this, but little kids had lunchboxes and pajamas with Freddy Krueger on it, who was a child murderer. And if you're a child murderer, you're probably diddling kids too. And parents are buying kids these pajamas for the kids to wear. It's mind blowing to me. It's mind blowing. But that was
there's a Nightmare on Elm Street NES game. There's a Friday the 13th NES game. So I mean, those are for kids.
Kids, yes.
Hey, we were tough back in the 80s and 70s, right?
That's right. That's exactly right. So those three are automatically on there for me. It's tough because I feel like you can't have three from the same time period, but it's just, they're the new Universal monsters, right? They're the new Dracula, Frankenstein, and all them. Fourth one is where it gets a little tricky. You know, is it Ghostface? Has he earned his place? Is it Leatherface? You know, because Texas Chainsaw is so big. Leatherface has some shit movies though, like even worse than some of these Halloween ones. You know,
Yeah.
you know, who else? Chucky. You know, Chucky now is just you know, it's still going, which is insane to me. You know, but it's got its own TV series. You know, Chucky is just it's a brand. You say Chucky to a random person on the street, they know exactly who you're talking about. You say Ghostface, do they? A horror fan would, of course, but would some random person on the street? I don't know. So I'd almost say Chucky over Ghostface, which I'm a bigger Ghostface guy, but I would probably choose Chucky for just the, you know, just kind of because Chucky's kind of woven into the fabric of pop culture at the moment, and has been for quite some time. So those would probably be my 4.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I agree with all of yours, but I'm putting Ghostface over Chucky. Though I love Chucky 2 is my favorite. Actually, the first Child's Play is we rewatched it last year. Very good, I thought. Very, very good.
It is. It is.
But yeah, I mean, I'm putting Ghostface there, and I'll put Billy Loomis. Ghostface goes right there. He's the king of the Ghostface in my opinion. Mike, what about yours?
You're not gonna like my well, I'm a 70s kid, you know. I've got to go with you know, what created a craze as well was the sound of a chainsaw and the thought of now after the first one, the rest of them kind of suck after that, so for the remake.
But so you're gonna base it off one movie he gets to be on Mount Rushmore.
Now I'm probably gonna upset you and Nick Bow because I know y'all about the same age here. And don't get me wrong, I love the Scream movies. But I don't get scared of Ghostface. Ghostface is never scared me. Somebody with a freaking chainsaw in the middle of the woods, running through the woods, or crank a chainsaw up in a haunted house or something, you know who that is. You always think of Leatherface. So I'm going to say the character more of Leatherface as my 4th one. Of course, the other one's Michael, Jason, and Freddie. But I think that's because I'm 53 and you're 40. So the difference in time periods, but I've never, that's one thing I love the fact of the Scream franchise that it's always a different killer. It's not the same killer. That's something unique. Plus they added the comedy in it. I think they revived the slasher genre again.
Yeah.
But I've never been scared of Ghostface. I've never said, oh God, that's Ghostface. I'm scared.
Sure.
I can't.
Sure, but it's more realistic.
I mean, Leatherface is a fine choice, though. But Leatherface is like I just recently, a couple months ago, rewatched Chainsaw 74, and it's pretty terrifying. You know, when Leatherface, you know, shuts that big, you know, metal door after slamming that guy in the head, and you see his body twitching and shit. It's like, oh my God.
That's a bucket list.
Is iconic.
That's a bucket list for me and my son. We want to go down to Texas and see they've turned that into a bread and breakfast now. The house, a bed. It's not a bed and breakfast. It's a restaurant. But the upstairs part of it has a bar, and they have all this memorabilia from the movie. But we like to go on cruise ships and stuff. We're going to try to go out to Galveston, Texas. Head down there, see all the barbecue places. There's a place you can stay at near the original gas station where they have these little cabins there. You can stay in them. And about 1 in the morning, the guy in a chainsaw cranks it up and comes coming through the area and freaking people out. So we want to do that whole thing sometime. But
to me, to me, the first movie is very boring until you get into it.
Yeah, I mean,
it's really slow. I mean. To me, just like the original Exorcist, very boring until you get into it. It's just too slow.
Yeah, it's a slow burn. It's a slow burn.
No. So we got that. Okay, so do you go see new horror movies? Do you go to the theater at all, Nick? Are you a fan of going to the theater to watch horror, or would you rather just watch it at home?
I love going to the theater now. Like I just love the whole theater experience. Now,
Now that
it costs, whatever it costs these days, I'm a little more selective in what I go see. Not to mention, there's no 90-minute movies anymore. So, if I'm going to waste 2.5 hours and $25 or whatever the hell it costs, it's got to be a movie I want to see. But I do love the theater experience. Look, I say that it's also nice to be convenient, right? And be able to just get home on a Friday night and some new movies out, and I can just, not leave the house and, take care of things, right? So it's nice to have that option once in a while too. But if it's a movie I really want to see, if it's a movie I'm excited for, a new Halloween movie, a new, whatever movie that I want to see, like, I'm going to go see it in the theater first. So that's just kind of my thought on that.
Yeah, I love going to see. I've seen a bunch of horror movies this year in the theater. We actually have a theater by us that me and my wife can go see a movie, each get a drink and a popcorn, or we don't sometimes get a popcorn, or you can get a candy, and it's about $20 for us. That's it. So we go all the time. Total.
Yeah.
For two tickets. Yeah. Total.
Let me tell you this. Me and my wife and son went and saw Godzilla King Kong. Cost me about $100 to $110. $25 a ticket because it's IMAX and 3D. 3 tickets for $75 here in North Carolina. Of course, I had to get the whole big bucket memorabilia.
That's your fault.
Yeah, but still, 25. Listen, me. I used to work that's how we got the name Real Dead. I used to work at a movie theater and manage a movie theater. I know how they make their money, and cool. I know how they do that. So, that's one reason I got into horror movies. Was I got it from my mother at a young age, but from the time I was 16 to about 24, 25, I worked at a theater, managed a movie theater. So it was kind of always in my blood.
So that was if you were that age, that was when? That was like the 50s? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Mid 80s.
Yeah.
I remember making $3.50 an hour at the movie theater.
Hey, Nick, do you remember what the first horror movie you saw in the theater was?
Ooh, that's a great question.
I do.
I do, but I don't know if you'd consider it horror.
What is it?
The thing. It's Ernest Scared Stupid. It's probably not horror, but I remember going to there with my grandma.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that movie.
My grandpa took me. Yeah,
I love that movie. Obviously, it's not horror, but it's close.
It's children horror. It's children horror. Yeah, I think.
Exactly.
I was. Exactly. I mean, there's a couple parts in that movie that are scary when you're a kid. Yes. Like when she looks over her bed and she rolls over, that troll's right there in her face, and you're like, "Whoa!"
Yes.
Yeah, dude. So
yes.
Yeah, I like that movie. I'm a huge Ernest fan.
Me
so
too.
Yeah, I saw that in the theater too. But my first horror movie I ever saw in the theater was I Know What You Did Last Summer. And after that, 97. Like right after that, Scream 2 came out, I think, and I saw that in the theater. So that was like the 2 first horror movies I saw in the theater. It was awesome. Mike, what do you? I mean, Mike was like a black and white wolf.
Yeah, mine was black and white. X rolled the film like this, and the first movie I remember seeing a horror movie. Again, my mother was a diehard horror movies fan. I remember being at home and them playing Jaws on HBO when it came out in the late 70s when it first hit TV. But at the theater, it actually wasn't a theater; it was a drive-in theater. And it was Friday the 13th, Part 3.
Wow!
Oh,
I remember that spear.
That's
coming. Awesome. Yeah, that was. Awesome. They actually did a double feature. It was The Incredible Melting Man first. Go back and see that one and look at the score on that one on Rotten Tomatoes. The Incredible Melting Man, and then followed up by Friday 13th, Part 3.
That's awesome, Mike. That you saw that in the theater, bro. Yeah. That's really cool.
Back when they had the little speaker that you stuck inside your car to be able to listen to the sound of it. That was.
Oh, you didn't just turn it to a channel. You didn't just turn it to a channel. They had a speaker, huh?
No,
Mike,
the speaker back then it was a little gray, looked like a microphone, and you actually put it in, and it had a hook on the back of it, and it hooked on your window inside your car.
Mike, you did get to. I mean, you're older than us, and I was teasing you, but like seriously, you did get to see some really cool horror movies in the theater experience, and we did not.
Yes.
So,
yes,
I
exactly.
was very lucky, and yep.
Yep, that's great. So yeah, is there any like upcoming horror movies this year that you're excited about, like new ones?
I have not been paying as much attention as I used to what's coming out. I would say I'm intrigued by the new Beetlejuice. I know that's not, is that horror? I don't know.
Me too.
Yeah, I think it's close. I think it's close enough. I'm intrigued by it.
Yeah, I'm
once
excited.
again, much like Halloween 2018, the band's kind of back together for the most part, right?
Yep.
Keaton's back, Burton's back. I assume Danny Elfman is probably back scoring the movie, but I can't confirm that. But obviously, Winona Ryder's back. You got Burton's new girl, Jenna Ortega, who is obviously blowing up
huge,
all over the place. Yeah. So I think at worst, Beetlejuice. At worst, like I think it'll be fun. It'll be like seeing an old friend, right? Even if it's not great, it'll be like seeing an old friend, and it'll make you kind of give you the nostalgic vibes a little bit. And I'm going into it where, I'm not gonna be pissed off and say they ruined my childhood or anything like that. I just want to watch it and have fun and, look at the little callbacks that they do and hope that it's intriguing enough to pique my interest. And hopefully I can watch it and say, hey, you know what, that was very unnecessary, but it was very fun. So
just like The Flash had Michael Keaton play Batman again.
Right.
I loved it. The movie wasn't that good, but seeing Michael Keaton as Batman again, that was the ticket. That's why I purchased the ticket to see that movie. Right.
And I guarantee there's hundreds of thousands of people that say the exact same thing that you just said there. It was genius by them.
Yeah. Michael Keaton was my Batman growing up. So that's why
I was working at the movie theater when that was in the theater, and it was a 6-plex movie theater, and we had it playing in all 6 movies on one reel of film. I mean, it's 5 or 6 of them put on one platter, but man, I'll tell the story on that one. Going all the way down, all 6 theaters started, hit the button, and they all played at the same time.
Wow.
Incredible.
I heard when that came out, it was like a phenomenon. The country was just obsessed, and like working at a theater had to be kind of cool during that time.
I remember on a Saturday night taking $60,000 back in the day, back in the late 80s, early 90s, whenever that came out. $60,000 cash to the bank to make a deposit. I mean, it was just money over money. People were going crazy selling that. I mean, it was awful. I mean, it was great. Don't get me wrong.
I like Batman. I saw Batman Returns in the theater when I was probably 10 then, or 9 or 10, and I really like that movie. I know some people it's divisive, but we're kind of getting off topic here. We're talking about Batman and stuff. But so did you see Smile? Smile 2 comes out this year. Smile was actually pretty good, and so I'm kind of looking forward to what they do with Smile 2.
Your timing's impeccable. I watched Smile for the first time on Saturday night.
I really liked it. Did you?
Like 4 days ago. I didn't have any expectations. I heard it was pretty good. I thought it was really well done. I thought some of the scares and uneasiness were really well done. I thought it was a great looking for my words here, but a great way to portray how someone might deal with some type of trauma like that, like witnessing someone you love or someone you know or someone in front of you committing suicide. I thought that was, and how like if you don't deal with it, it can take the other people down around you because you're not dealing with that, right? I thought that whole message was great. The ending, though, I thought the CGI mom at the end, it looked like kind of like in It, like chapter 2, where it's just some big CGI monster. I didn't like that. And I thought the message of the movie would have been driven home more if it was like a happier ending. And I love bleak endings in movies. I just love them. One of my favorite movies of all time is Invasion of the Body Snatchers, where it just ends with him, and you're just shocked. But I thought this movie would have been better done, or I thought it would have been better if it ended on a little more of a positive note, considering the message of the movie and things like that. But all the scares were great. Some of like just seeing someone just with that smile on their face, and nobody believing her and all kinds of shit like that. I thought it was very unsettling. It made me uneasy. And it's been a while since a movie did that. So it was kind of refreshing. So I thought it was really good.
Like I said, sorry. I'm looking forward to Smile too.
Nope.
Like I said, because I think it's going to be really good. I think it will be. I guess we'll have to see. It could be total trash, but I'm excited for it. Also, another movie's coming out soon. Actually, we're getting a whole trilogy, and that's The Strangers. What do you think of this whole like reboot type thing with The Strangers? Though I think they came out and said that it's technically not a reboot, and I think it still might be connected to the original one that came out, but the second one's like voided, I guess.
Interesting. Yeah. Well, I think it's interesting that Rennie Harlan is doing it. He's doing all three. And he obviously did Nightmare on Elm Street Part 4, which is some of his, fantastical dream sequences were really cool. He's done Die Hard 2, I believe.
Yeah.
He's a pretty decent director. I just thought it was an interesting choice for them to have him do it and for him to do it, which is fine. But I really love the original Strangers movie. I thought it was really creepy, really scary, because you were home, no reason, kind of like, the original intent of Michael Myers, right? There's no reason for it. They're just there. I remember seeing The Strangers Prey at Night, and it's another movie that I think has become a little overrated on social media, but I really enjoyed The Strangers Prey at Night. It was a theater experience I had where I was expecting it to be a shit sequel, but I was bored. I went, and I had such a great time that I really liked the movie. But it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see if they can capture the essence of what made the original scary, which was isolation, which was no motive, and just, two people, that don't really know what they're up against. And we as an audience never found out more. Obviously, as we found out as Halloween diehards, Mike, the more sequels you have, the more you have to explain shit that doesn't need explaining, and the more answers you get that you don't want, because they're going to be answers that were better off left unanswered. So that's my fear with it, So,
but why would they? I don't understand why they just did a trilogy and didn't even see how our first movie did. They just said, "To hell with it. We're doing 3 movies, and we got them all done. They're done.
Well,
all 3 of them are done."
It worked out so well for The Exorcist, right? I mean, Jesus. Man.
I liked some of that, but some of it was really bad. Yeah, my wife actually really liked it, but she doesn't know any other thing. She watched the first Exorcist, fell asleep. This one she actually liked, but she's more of a casual horror fan. She watches a lot of horror movies, but I would call her more of a casual horror fan. And she liked that movie actually. Mike thought it was dog shit too, but
I thought it was terrible. Well, it brings up an interesting question too, though. To your wife's point, before YouTube, let's go back before we all had YouTube channels. Was it? Did you find it was easier to just watch a movie and enjoy it without having to get online and critique it? Sometimes I miss those days of just being able to watch a movie, take it for what it is.
You know what I miss, Nick? I miss.
Yeah, what's that?
I miss watching a trailer for a movie and it don't tell you every fucking thing in the movie.
That's right. Yeah,
that's what I miss.
Yep.
Back in the day, in the early '80s and mid '80s, when you went to Blockbuster, the video store, and you just picked it up and said, "Damn, this looks really cool. I'm gonna take this home and watch it." And it was all new to you. And then you may see a preview at the beginning of that. Back then, when they put commercials at the beginning of the videos of the Toolbox Murder or something crazy like that, or The Town That Dreaded Sundown, or you'd see that in front of them. Go, I need to go back to the video store and get that one. But back then they didn't. It's just like, to me, Abigail that's just out. Again, we got something, we got a video coming out this week later on talking about that, but it's told way too much. Whereas you see something like on Tubi, Lowlifes, where the trailer had you wanting more, and it didn't give up too much. So to me, somebody like the company that did Abigail should be able to go back and learn that, hey, don't tell the whole damn story in the trailer. It's just a waste.
Mike, listen to this. I just watched something today, and I think it was Cody Leach actually watched his video, and he was talking about, because he doesn't understand why people think it gives away too much or whatever, but about the Abigail. But he said Jason Blum came out and said that our trailers do better, our movies do better when the trailers give away a lot more of the movie. So we're going to keep on doing that with our trailers because Mike, because the numbers say it works. That's why.
Yeah.
That's what
I was just going to mention that.
Yeah, Jason Blum said that, Mike. So
I think it has to do with just the general movie-going audience, right? The general movie-going audience isn't like us. You know, they don't care what they see in the trailer. Ooh, that looks good. They're not seeing a trailer for Halloween 2018 and seeing Michael in the closet and knowing that Vicky is going to die right in there because they saw it in the trailer. They're not breaking down the trailers. So I think it's just the general movie-going audience. And to Blum's point, I think their analytics or whatever the hell they're running for it is telling them we need to show 2 or 3 key scenes to get the audience there so they're hooked. But what it does, to your point, Mike, is it screws all the people that are paying attention, all the real diehard fans, because now, you know, there's 3 scenes in the movie, for example, where we see 2 characters pop up in a location and we know what's going to happen based on what we saw in that trailer, and it just ruins it, you know? It sucks.
Yeah, no, I totally agree, Nick, but yeah, like you said, I mean, and that's why I was like, well, maybe I should just stop watching trailers. But I'm like, no, I love watching trailers. Like, I just do. So
yeah, you're always like, Mike, the trailer just dropped today. Let's do a trailer reaction to it.
Hey, did you see the trailer?
Videos would be gone if we didn't do trailer reaction.
Hey, Nick, did you see the trailer for Trap, dude?
Yes.
What do you think of that, man?
I was intrigued.
Me too. I am too.
Like the question is, what's the twist, right? Is there a twist? Is the twist there's no twist? You know, I don't know. I feel like there's something we don't know, obviously, about the situation with Josh Hartnett's character and things like that. Shyamalan is hit or miss. There's a lot of movies of his I love. There's a lot of movies of his that I don't get. Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah, exactly.
I agree.
Exactly.
I agree. He's hit and miss.
Yeah, so we'll see if this is a hit. We'll see if it's a miss. But as far as did the trailer do its job? Did it intrigue me and make me want to go see it? Yes, it did.
This guy we know said this is the most anticipated movie of the year. I said, you're nuts. It's not. I'll guarantee you. It's
really?
Not. Yeah, that's what this one guy said that we know.
Also, I think a Quiet Place Day One.
Oh,
not truly. I don't know if you really can count that as horror. I think that's going to be a big hit this year.
That's horror.
The other one I think that will be a big hit, especially for the amount of money it spent on it, and people love or hate these. I'm a liker. Josh hasn't ever watched them. Nick, I may be wrong on this, but I don't think you like them either. But it's the Terrifiers. I think Terrifier 3 is going to be huge.
Yeah, I'm not into them.
Yeah, I am into those. Yeah, I don't know why. I think it's more
kind of at Christmas, right?
Huh?
Terrifier 3 is going to be set at Christmas time, right?
It's coming out in October, but yeah, I think it's mainly set at Christmas time. Yep.
Yeah, we have a friend that is into horror a lot, but he will refuse to see it because it takes place at Christmas, because he doesn't like horror movies at Christmas, which, you know, I know that's everybody their own, but yeah, I'm just not into the Terrifier stuff, you know. I know, but it's funny though. I do like the Saw movies, but I mean, I think it's a different kind of horror. I just think it's different. I think the story, there's not really a story to Terrifier, right? I mean, it's just like,
well, it's kind of goes back to what Nick said. Nick said earlier that, I mean, the thing that drew me to Terrifier was that it was just a killer in a clown suit, and there was no reasons why he was some crazy ass on Halloween night could do this. And that's what intrigued me with the first one and the second one. The second one got a little bit more story on it. This third one, I'm sure, is going to have a little bit more. But sooner or later, they're probably going to tell too much. And it's going to be like, it's going to be a shit show after a time.
And there's a certain charm in that, right, Mike? Like, as far as, like, just like you said, just a guy killing people, right? You know, it's not like every movie nowadays nowadays that comes out has to have some message that the director or studio is banging down our throat. And, you know, it's not subtle like it was in the day where they're trying to, tell a little message. Now they're not telling a little message. They're telling us how to think. And that pisses me off as a moviegoer, you know? So there's something very nostalgic and a certain charm to just see. And hey, I can just sit back, relax, watch this clown kill people. Now, it's not exactly what I want to watch particularly well or particularly much, but I get the feeling of, hey, I can just sit back, relax, and watch this clown do just some fucking insane shit. And, you know, there's charm in that, right?
Yep. Yeah, totally. So